Good morning, I'm Maddie Jansen, and this is the podcast of 17 News at Sunrise. It's everything you need to know to start your day in about 15 minutes.
The Golden Empire. This is 17 News at Sunrise.
President Trump is headed to the Golden Empire. Our sister station reporting this morning he'll make a stop in Bakersfield this week. We'll tell you what we know so far about the planned visit.
The man accused of pulling out a gun, opening fire on a packed Greyhound bus last week as it headed down the Grapevine is due in court later today.
Equal parts a mentor, coach, and friend, a beloved face at Garces High School will retire after more than 4 decades on campus. More on his legacy and impact on local students. We'll have that on this Thursday, February 13th, 2020. Good morning, 5 a.m. Good to have you with us. I'm Maddie Jansen alongside Alex Fisher, and it actually got kind of warm outside yesterday afternoon at that Cupids challenge.
It was a little warm. It was very nice, though. It was very pleasant, but it felt like spring.
It did.
I think it was the first time I felt like spring was in the air, and we've got a forecast really filled with that type of weather, right, Vanessa?
That's right, Alex and Maddie. You know what? If you were a fan of yesterday's weather, it looks like we're seeing similar conditions today. Right now, we are anticipating to see a high of about 73 degrees today, but right now it's still chilly, so if you're making your way outdoors, we're seeing 46 degrees here in the city, 50% humidity levels, pretty much calm winds out there. So it's chilly, but not any heavy winds is what we're expecting this morning. Our outdoor forecast looking gorgeous too, with a high of 70 degrees by around 3 o'clock this afternoon. And Tehachapi still very cool out there for us. We're looking at 27 degrees with 74% humidity levels, calm winds, a dew point at 19. Our outdoor forecast also similarly, we're seeing a high of about 57 degrees later this morning, afternoon more specifically, and then it starts to drop around 5 o'clock later today. And as far as your Valentine's Day weather forecast and this weekend, I'll have a look coming up in our pinpoint weather forecast. Right now, I'm going to go ahead and send it over to Alex for a look at traffic.
All right, Vanessa, thanks so much. And here's a look outside to the 99 at Airport Drive, and it's looking pretty clear on that side of town. Everything else around the county looking pretty good for the most part. There is one crash being reported on Laredale Highway near Main Drain Road, so keep that in mind. No injuries involved, but CHP is on scene trying to clear that crash, so keep that in mind if you're headed out that way. Other than that, it's all looking great across Kern County. We'll have another check coming up in about 15 minutes.
President Donald Trump is set to visit Bakersfield next week. That's according to our sister station Casey in Fresno. Sources from the California Republican Party and the 21st Congressional District told Casey that President Trump will be in Bakersfield Wednesday as part of a visit to the Central Valley, where he will sign a new bill into law. Details of the president's schedule or a visit to the Central Valley have not been released or confirmed by the White House. President Trump is already also reportedly visiting Los Angeles, Phoenix, and Las Vegas.
17 News is your local election headquarters, and you saw it here live on TV 17 last night. The candidates for 4th District Supervisor squared off in a live debate. 17's Eitan Wallace moderated and has a recap.
The candidates discussed a wide range of issues and shared why they deserve your vote.
From the 17 News studios, this is the 4th District Supervisor Debate.
Moderated by Jim Scott and me, the debate featured incumbent 4th District Supervisor David Couch and challenger Emilio Huerta. They are hoping to represent this area. The district lines include Delano to the north, Arvin to the south, and parts of Bakersfield. Couch has served as 4th District Supervisor since 2013. Before that, he served on the Bakersfield City Council for 14 years. Huerta is a civil rights attorney and son of civil rights leader Dolores Huerta. The pair touched on a number of issues from homelessness to public safety to pension reform. 3 weeks before Election Day, they laid out the case why you should vote for them.
I hope that people here tonight can see as to why I am the better candidate for this district. I represent 3 generations of individuals who have committed their lives to make Kern County better. My mother, Dolores Huerta, civil rights activist, my daughter, Ana Alicia Huerta, a local immigration attorney, and of course myself, who has committed a life of building affordable housing, who has fought to increase access to quality medical services in our rural communities. I will be a champion for our community.
Well, my father gave me some great advice once, and he said, do what you think is right and risk the consequences. And he meant the consequences to myself. And I have tried to do that each and every day while I was on the City Council, when I've been on the Board of Supervisors. I'm hopeful that the voters have seen that and that they will allow me to another term because there are things I would really like to accomplish in this last term. Fix the flooding in Lamont. Get McFarland back on track.
If you missed Wednesday night's debate, you can catch it on our website, kget.com. It also will re-air this Saturday evening on TV 17 in place of Kern County In Depth, and this Sunday at 11 a.m. on the CW. Primary Election Day is March 3rd. In studio, Eitan Wallace, 17 News.
And a reminder, we'll have another debate tonight with everyone running to be the next 1st District Supervisor. Philip Peters, David Fluhart, and Darius Stevens. It starts tonight, live on TV 17 at 7 p.m.
5:05 now. If you notice something a little different as you're driving along Golden State Avenue, the new $3 million low-barrier homeless shelter is well under construction. 2 massive tent-like structures are going up. Soon they'll house up to 150 people who've been living on the streets.
This is a navigation center, right? So the key is navigating people off the streets into this facility and navigating them out to any number of different places that will help them get back on their feet. And so you're going to see folks coming in and hopefully leaving onto better pathways in life. I think it'll be a facility that will be most conducive to the focus on getting these folks some mental health treatment, substance abuse treatment, job training, medical care if they need it.
County officials hoped to open the shelter by mid-February, but minor construction problems at the site have delayed progress. The shelter should be ready to receive its first tenants by March.
Governor Gavin Newsom has made it his mission to tackle homelessness in California, and recently his new budget to do just that has been getting some backlash. New analysis from the state's nonpartisan legislative and analyst office says the budget will not have any meaningful impact on the problem. It also says Newsom's proposal is, quote, falling short of articulating a clear strategy for curbing homelessness in California. Newsom wants to spend another $750 million on fixing the crisis. The money would flow to regional administrators who would decide how to spend it. Those administrators would be chosen by the State Department of Social Services. Over the last 2 years, state officials have funded homelessness programs, spending $1.2 billion to local governments.
The man suspected of opening fire on a crowded Greyhound bus last week is due in court today. Law enforcement says 33-year-old Anthony Devontae Williams shot 6 people, leaving a Colombian woman dead. The coroner has identified that woman as 51-year-old Luis Elena Vence Jimenez. CHP says it's not clear what motivated the shooting. Williams will appear in court for a felony arraignment.
Also in court this morning, Caleb Kessinger. You may remember he is charged with the murder of his then-girlfriend's 2-year-old son. Back in April 2018, Kessinger and his former girlfriend, Isla Chavez, were arrested and suspected of killing 2-year-old Ramon Angel Reyes Chavez. Police believe the pair dumped Ramon's body in the Kern River Canyon, then returned to bury it sometime later. Chavez took a plea deal in the case after leading police to the spot where her son's body was buried. She is expected to testify against Kessinger. Chavez told police she went out for dinner with a friend and left Ramon in Kessinger's care. When she got home, she claims Ramon had injuries to his face and head and that the baby died later that night. In a separate case, Kessinger faces charges of allegedly stealing from his grandfather and stashing guns in his room for the Westside Crips gang. It is 5:08 now, and after 42 years, Garces Memorial High School will say goodbye to the man that has taught at the school longer than anyone else.
Beloved art teacher and PA announcer Mark Vincent Brown is set to retire at the end of this year, but not without some fanfare. Joining us in studio with a look back at his career and legacy, Taylor Schaub. Good morning.
Good morning, and that's right, Maddie and Alex. After decades of mentoring, Bakersfield's best and brightest Mr. Brown will finally step down as the art teacher at Garces.
Here's a nickel. Right.
Chances are, if you attended Garces Memorial High School in the last 4 decades, you came across this man.
I run into people all over the place that I've taught and stuff, and I'm teaching their kids as kids now, some of them.
His name is Mark Vincent Brown, but many of his students call him Brownie. And while he may speak softly, that's about the only thing quiet about this career educator.
Brendo, all right, let's go to work.
Whether it's his dad jokes or his unique style, Gen Zers just seem to relate to this baby boomer.
He's always going to be there no matter what, And he's just a wise person that I can go in and be like, what's up? And he's like, hey, and you just can talk to him about anything and it's not awkward.
That, according to his student Tenley Kolick, is what makes this 64-year-old so special.
And I mean, he's made such an impact on me as a person. And I feel like I've developed in like both my art skills and personal skills because he's just such a chill person that it's going to be hard to replace him. So.
Equal parts a mentor, a coach, and a friend, Brown's involvement goes well beyond the classroom.
Being out, I spend a lot of time out in the yard at break and lunch and hang out with the kids out there and talk to them about, I can joke around with them and they get it, and so.
And while Garces would probably keep him there forever, he's calling it a career.
Really blessed to have this job. I could do it for the 20 more years probably, but I'm not gonna.
But Brown will never forget the memories he made and the lives he helped change.
It's nice to see him, grown up and stuff and doing what they do and know that maybe I had a hand in getting them to where they are and stuff like that.
Kolick, no doubt one of those, as she'll never forget the time she spent with the legendary Mr. Brown.
Oh, it's going to be really hard. Like, I can't thank him enough for getting me to where I'm at.
And guys, he'll be moving to Sacramento to be with his wife and closer to his 4 children.
Well, that's really good. But what a long career. That's amazing.
Right. Sure he'll be missed as well. All right, thanks, Taylor. 5:11 now, and illegal pot shops are popping up again and again and again across Kern County.
The issues law enforcement are facing as they try to shut them down. Welcome back at 521. Kern County is one of the few places in the state where the sale of both recreational and medical marijuana is still illegal.
Law enforcement officials have been tirelessly working to stop illegal pot shops from popping up. All too often, the shops appear faster than police can shut them down. You may remember back in 2014, California passed Prop 47. That reduced the fines for nonviolent drug charges like selling marijuana. Last week, a group of illegal pot shops were raided. Knott's Collective, Backyard Organics, and Cannabis were all back open just days later. But the question is, why? For many pot shop owners, the lower fines are not a strong enough deterrent.
If you're going to sell $5,000 a day worth of stuff, okay, and it's a $500 fine, the risk to reward is in favor of risk.
It is estimated there are up to 40 illegal pot shops in Kern County, almost all of which currently pay no taxes. Voters have the chance to change that this March with measures D and E.
You're able to tax the flower when it's grown by the ounce. You're able to tax it when it goes to manufacturing. Then the retail tax. There's so many taxes that are charged throughout the process. They've made it very beneficial to counties and cities that have chosen to have this and chosen to regulate it.
Measure D is sponsored by the Central Valley Cannabis Association, and Measure E is a measure drafted and endorsed by the county.
523 now, KGET teamed up with DeWars in downtown Bakersfield for Cupids Challenge. People showed up all day yesterday to grab a box of those delicious DeWars chews and satisfy that sweet tooth. And there was one special donation from a local kid who stopped by to help out.
I wanted to donate to kids who are sick, and I just didn't feel like getting any chews because you should donate even though you don't get anything.
Tyndall says he raised $50 from selling popcorn with the Boy Scouts, and he watched our coverage of Cupid's Challenge during 17 News at sunrise yesterday and told his mom he wanted to help the sick kids in Kern County. His donation and all of the money raised yesterday will benefit the Mendaburu Magic Foundation.
So this particular event benefits our pediatric patient assistance funds, and so all of our medical social workers in California hospitals up and down can go into a family's room when they're having to travel for care and treatment and provide support that family might need.
Together, we raised more than $21,000 for local children and families. That's about $3,000 more than last year. If you didn't make it out to doors, though, you can still order either the mixed box or the peanut butter only box of chews online through the end of the month. Proceeds will go to the Mendaboo Brew Magic Foundation. Just go to DeWarsCandy.com. It's $20. My box is about halfway empty.
I was going to ask. How is it?
Maybe a little more than halfway empty. I ate more last night when I got home.
Did you? So you had like, what, 15
I've lost
shoes?
Count. Probably
at least a dozen shoes. All right.
It's all for a good cause,
though.
It
is all for a
so
good cause.
It's fine.
And
Charity
it's
calories don't
Day.
count.
Think of it as it's a holiday, too. So.
Exactly.
All right, 5:24 now, and police are searching for 5 escaped inmates on the loose in Ohio.
What they're saying about how and when they may have escaped, coming up.
KGET Business Watch is brought to you by Grapevine MSP Technology Services, the Valley's leading IT service provider.
Welcome back now. It's 5:27. British Petroleum has pledged to reach net zero carbon emissions by 2050. It's part of the plan by the company's new CEO, Bernard Looney, to transform the legacy of the oil giant. Details are limited, but the goal is to cut greenhouse gas emissions from its global operations and emissions from the oil and gas it produces by 2050. During that time frame, BP also plans to cut the carbon intensity of its products by half. These commitments are the most ambitious from any major oil company to date. The Bakersfield Police Department's looking for volunteers. Applications are being accepted for anyone interested in being part of the Citizen Volunteer Unit. You'll attend an academy that begins April 7th. Sessions will be held one night a week from 6 to 9 p.m., so police can go over several areas of the assignment. The deadline to apply is next Wednesday, February 19th. For more information, contact Edwina Tripp at 326-3196.